Hello guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Between me doing videos and editing, we had got some breaking news in the past hour about the last remaining New Orleans County Jail. New Orleans, I guess New Orleans County Jail in New Orleans, Louisiana. The last remaining inmate, Derrick Groves, who was part of that 10-man jailbreak a few months back. This guy's just been captured in Atlanta, Georgia, according to authorities. And supposedly he was found in the crawl space, which is embarrassing. And they're going to tell you all the information they have right now. The story just broke, but this is what they got so far. They're saying Derrick Groves, the last remaining inmate from that New Orleans jailbreak, has been captured in Atlanta, Georgia. Check it out.
We are interrupting NBC News Daily because we are following major breaking news. Derrick Groves, the one remaining inmate at large from that massive jailbreak from the jail in New Orleans in May, has just been captured in the last 15 minutes in southwest Atlanta. All we know right now, this is coming from U.S. Marshals and federal officials, is that they were acting on a tip from Crime Stoppers New Orleans and other information reporting that Groves had possibly been in the Atlanta, Georgia area. They went to a house, and that is where they found Groves in the last 30 to 45 minutes. It is our understanding from federal U.S. Marshals that Derrick Groves is in custody right now. When he'll be extradited back to New Orleans, that is not known. But as everybody knows by now, Groves was one of 10 people to break out of the Orleans Justice Center, which is just another name for the jail in the city of New Orleans, back in May. 9 other inmates had been captured. Many believe that Groves could possibly have been the mastermind of this entire escape. Derrick Groves is a convicted killer, having been found guilty of killing numerous people on Mardi Gras Day several years ago. He has now been on the run for several months, but now on October 8th, he has now been brought to justice in the Atlanta area, in southwest Atlanta. We are waiting for a video from the scene. It's our understanding that Atlanta PD, as well as federal officials, raided a house a few hours ago. They were tipped off that Groves could have been there. And now, according to U.S. Marshals, he, in fact, was there. Joining us live, the point person for a lot of this, U.S. Marshal Brian Fair. Brian, first off, congratulations on ending now what has been almost a 6-month search for Derrick Groves.
Thank you, and can't take credit for it. This was a team effort through multiple law enforcement agencies and with support from Crime Stoppers GNO.
So if you can talk about this, you have done a lot of interviews. You told us back in May it may take weeks, it may take months, but we will eventually catch Derrick Groves. I know that the investigation is still fresh. It's actually happening right now, but how did you all track him down to Georgia, to southwest Georgia? Was it essentially just a tip called into Crime Stoppers?
It was a combination of tips that we received from Crime Stoppers GNO and then follow-up work done by the U.S. Marshal Service over the last couple months. We developed information that he was possibly at a house on Honeysuckle Street in Atlanta, Georgia. And this morning, from what you saw in the news, was the follow-up of that. The U.S. Marshals New Orleans Task Force sent a collateral lead out to the U.S. Marshals Southeast Regional Fugitive Task Force in Atlanta. They, along with the Atlanta PD SWAT team, acted on that tip. And behind the scenes, there was a lot of investigative work done here in New Orleans by the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, the New Orleans Police Department, Louisiana State Police, FBI, HSI, and the U.S. Marshals. So there was a lot of manpower, hours, and investigation that went into this to today's result.
Yeah, and look, Brian, we're all going to have a lot of questions. So is the general public watching this right now. Do you know how long he's been in Atlanta or how he got there? I mean, obviously he didn't fly. Does it seem like somebody transported him across state lines to try to hide him out in Georgia?
I don't want to speculate at this time. I would guess that, yeah, somebody probably did help transport him there. That's going to be a follow-up investigation that will be done. It is possible additional people go to jail.
And is this the kind of thing, this does bring a close to this, with the exception of the investigation still going on at OPSO, but is this a day that people can breathe a big sigh of relief that all 10 inmates are finally back in custody?
Yes, I would say this is that day that you can finally relax a little bit. Now that this has finally been done, it's taken quite a few months. We're just happy it's over. It took several hours once they went to the house today. He was hiding in a crawl space. A lot of manpower hours and effort and equipment had to be used today to get him out of the house.
And he came out without incident, or did he put up any kind of fight? I know these are details that are still coming into you as well.
I would not call this without incident. There was probably a 3 or 4 hour, I don't know if we'd call it a standoff, where we didn't know if he was in the house or not. Nobody was there, but ultimately he was located in a crawl space in the house. So.
Does it seem, I mean, look, Brian, I know this is all going to come out in the investigation, but do you believe he's been there for several weeks or months? I mean, is this the kind of place that he went to back in May and has just been holed up in Southwest Atlanta since?
That's going to take some more follow-up work. I would say we probably believe he's been there for a little while, but we don't know how long. It's going to take a lot more follow-up work on that end.
And look, is this the kind of thing, too, where you all have exhausted a lot of man hours and time, but this is what the U.S. Marshals do. I mean, you track down people who are wanted by local, state, and federal law enforcement, while you've seen the task force get smaller, where NOPD, OPSO, state police had to pull some people back because they had to go on with other cases. The U.S. Marshal's Office never stopped working on this.
Correct. And they still had people assigned to the case. Like state police has somebody assigned full-time on our task force. So does Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. So those people continue to work, and LSP and Orleans continue to support our efforts during that time. So did HSI and FBI. The scale got a little smaller, but like I said, we at that point, once the majority of them were captured, we were able to focus more on Mr. Groves.
And look, I don't know if you can see it, Brian. We were taking a live look. That looks like a federal and state SWAT team. As we talk to you, we have a live picture from Atlanta here where they just brought him to justice. If you can walk us through the process for something like this, because I think everybody is captivated by it and wants to know, they want to see the veil pulled back. You make a call to your counterparts in Georgia, and is it basically they go to work immediately? I mean, this looks like a high-level task force here of highly skilled officers, SWAT team members right now surrounding that house that brought him to justice.
Yeah, correct. Well, so Elite is set out. They also have their own work to do, remember, like they have their own cases. They're violent offenders as well. So they prioritize cases. Obviously, this was a big one. So they prioritized it and began working it. And it may not, I mean, some people would think, oh, it's just very simple. You just run out to the address and go knock on the door. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes on to before you even go knock on a door. And that's what you saw today. There was a lot of work done. Like I said, Crime Stoppers GNO provided significant support all summer long. And even today, so it took some effort to get the result that we had today.
And look, Groves is different than the rest of these escaped inmates because he has been convicted of murder. He will spend the rest of his life, per his sentence, at Angola without probation or parole. Did it make him more of a flight risk? Did it make it more of a high-risk matter, given the fact that, I hate to use this term, he really had nothing to lose because unlike a lot of these escapees who were pretrial detainees waiting for their day in court, Groves knows his fate. He is going to the state prison at Angola for the rest of his life.
Now, I would say that is a factor, yes. At least it adds to our risk. We do assess what we're working on each case and determine what might have more of a risk. And obviously, he would be way up there because he's looking at not ever being released from prison.
Now, walk us through the process. And I know we've seen this before back in May and June when you made the rest of these. He'll eventually end up in a jail in Atlanta. He'll be extradited back here. If you can walk us through that process, it'll probably be a couple of days, I would guess, based on the other cases that the marshals and the state officials have handled. Is that correct?
Yeah, if he doesn't get charged with anything locally there, he will eventually be extradited back to Louisiana. I would think that there may be a chance state police is actually involved in that process as they've already helped extradite several of the other escapees to Angola. So, he'll get booked into the local county he's in. I don't have the county's name in front of me, but the local county in Georgia. And he'll go through a process. He'll either waive extradition or not waive it. And if he doesn't, they'll ultimately get a governor's warrant, and he'll be extradited back to Louisiana.
And look, Brian, this is something you've been involved in with the rest of your team of U.S. Marshals as well as state police and NOPD and OPSO. Atlanta was handling a lot of this. You were waiting for a text message or phone call. When you got it, I mean, is there a sense of, okay, finally, it's over. This tip actually led to an arrest, and this is him, because we've seen you all chase a lot of leads. Some of those bear no fruit, but this one obviously did, and now he's in custody.
Yeah, so we were in the office, hovered around our phones and communicating directly with them and waiting on it. So there was a lot of excitement here once we were finally notified that he was in custody. For a while, there was some concern because this drug on for quite a few hours before he was taken into custody. And we've had several tips and investigative things that we've done over the summer that we've been left basically holding the bag or not found him. So we were starting to get a little concerned, but we were confident that there was a pretty good shot that he was in that house.
And look, I know that we've talked to other sources. They told us there were some tips coming in recently. There was some chatter, I guess, that he may have been in the Atlanta area. Is that kind of why you all focused in on this area? When you start getting a lot of tips and a lot of chatter, does it become reality?
Well, there's been multiple tips in Atlanta and other areas in Georgia, and then there was stuff in Texas and other places. So we had to follow up on everything along the way, I would say. And then we had to do our own investigation as well to try to see what we could develop from talking to people, looking through records, and it was all time consuming.
All right, Brian Fair, U.S. Marshal, we appreciate your time. I know that you and your team are probably very happy with this outcome today, that Derrick Groves was finally brought to justice.